Hey everybody, this is Eric from Justice for Youth, and I realize I have not sent out the video for this week, so I just want to review everything with you. And you're probably going to hear a lot of noise. I'm at my doctor's office in the waiting room, but hopefully this helps. Our groups have been going great this week. I'm going to quickly go over our maturity curriculum and give you a few tips. So you're going to start seeing the curriculum now. Obviously, we'll review and recap the definition of maturity, and we'll translate it in their language, but encouraging them to understand that maturity is basically the completeness of growth and development. And this happens cognitively, emotionally, and in their decision making. Last week, we talked about logical reasoning and cognitive maturity and how this is developing in teenagers, and it eventually helps them make sound decisions. This week, we're going to be focusing on the emotional maturity, where teens will learn to display self-control when they feel frustrated or angry. And we'll talk about how maturing teens will also show respect and unselfishness towards others. Eventually, next week, we're going to be talking about decision making. So jumping right in, the way I've been leading our circles is in this manner. I show our video from week 1 again, and it's kind of like a funny reminder, like Dumb and Dumber, these cats are so immature, and they're singing songs and annoying the crap out of this guy who's, you know, in hiding. Eventually, I will move towards redefining, recapping, and then I will really start talking about our actual handout, which is 10 signs of emotional maturity. You can be flexible here, but I always kind of get a feel for the group, and then I decide at what point I'm going to do what. But the journal entry was really good this week, and it's, what is the most mature thing you've ever done in your life? And then we talked about please share of traits that other people do or that they have that are immature, and it kind of helps deflect from themselves so they don't feel like you're attacking them or having to talk about their deficiencies in their character. But usually it's I actually even extended the journal time for this entry, okay? Because I know most of our time is going to be discussionally focused, and I review these things here. 10 signs of emotional maturity. Each site should have printouts of these handouts, and each student will get one. I have a student read each number, and then we will then elaborate. So I'll say flexibility. You're able to see each situation as unique, and you can adapt to your style accordingly. And I'll move it into their circumstance and their lives, and I'll ask for scenarios, and I'll break it down in that way. Responsibility, teaching them to take responsibility over their own life, and understanding that current circumstances are not that they are results of the decisions that they've made up till now. When something goes wrong, they're not rushing to blame other people, and that they're able to identify that they can do things differently next time. So this is a big one. And I started talking about, hey man, ways that you can see yourself emotionally maturing is when you start seeing these things. And I asked the question to the kids, like, how many of you guys have ever wondered whether or not you've been maturing? Like, how many of you guys have ever said, like, hey man, I wish I had a benchmarker, some way that I knew I was growing? And it's kind of that idea of like lining your kids back up against the wall, and as they're growing, you're kind of drawing these pencil marks against the wall. It's the same thing. Now you have these as benchmarkers. So it's a great little process that we'll go through. It encourages them to read. Even at the end of this, I'm telling them, man, you guys need to practice reading because they don't read well. And a lot of these words, they're not even able to pronunciate, or they don't even know the word period. And this is where I kind of jam them up, and I'm like, you see why I'm telling you guys you need to read more books? Another thing I've been committed to with the groups is actually bringing them books to read. I have a little library, and I have books that captured my attention. We want to do the same thing for them. So it's pretty simple. That's all we have for the day. It's definitely going to take up our time. I end with a little word art in their journal. I have them write maturity, and then I have them create designs and write other words around them, draw pictures, and I give them a couple minutes to do that towards the end. And then, of course, I allow for some time after group for them to stand around or, stay around, ask any questions, give highs and lows of the week, dump into the circle, whatever that may be. I do know that at a few of our circles. We had a couple breakthroughs this week at Pomona, at Emerson with the girls, and at Simon's with our after school group. I'm seeing such great growth, and now's the time for us to be tracking that growth through our handouts. So if you have not yet handed out to them or pushed them to return their parent or their teacher assessment, now's the time to do that. I'm hearing great things of kids who are growing in significant ways. So hopefully you guys have a good week, and hopefully you guys see these videos as helpful. So we'll talk to you by next week, okay? Also, I just want you to know everybody has the USB discs that are loaded with all the videos for the month of November. So I'm excited about that. They're going to be all left at your site in your boxes, your supply boxes that Charlotte has provided for us. And you can plug them straight into your computers. And if you have a media player, you should be just fine. Okay, no need for internet or anything like that. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.